Hey guys, it's Yusafa. It's my honor to welcome Cam for the very first interview for Voices of the Community. Cam's story is one of resilience, passion, and perspective. He picked up MCOC during COVID, climbed his way to the top as a mini whale in SSX, and even shared some seasons in 4 Loki. Along the way, he built friendships, celebrated victories, and learned from tough alliance wars. But life threw him a curveball: cancer. A cancer diagnosis that forced him to step away from the game. During treatment, Cam realized how much he missed the community, the camaraderie, the laughs, and even the heated debates. Now he's back, this time on a free to play journey in a Plat 5 alliance, rediscovering this game without the pressures of spending or chasing prestige at the master level. His perspective bridges both worlds: the competitive, high stakes scene and the grassroots, community driven side of MCOC. So, guys, welcome Cam, and we're going to get right into the interview. Yusuf is here. We have a very big honor of having Cam as our very first interviewee as a part of this episode of Voices of the Community. Welcome, Cam. I'm glad to have you here, man. I can't wait to get into your story and let's get into it, man. How about you?
Thanks. I appreciate it. Looking forward to speaking with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Cam, you and I have known each other a bit in the past. We've crossed paths when you were in SSX, and then you came over to Ford Loki as a part of my alliance, and you spent some time in here. But then, I kind of lost touch with you because you kind of abruptly left the alliance. And I know that you have a lot of personal relationships with a lot of people out in the community right now, and you have just recently come back. So. How about you give us some bit about your background and your experience with the game, and let us know what has driven you to Marvel Contest of Champions.
Sure, absolutely. So I started playing during the pandemic. It was actually the day that I had gotten furloughed from my job in March of 2020.
Okay.
Um, my son, my 5-year old, actually had downloaded the game and on his iPad and had no idea what it was. And I was like, man, what is this? So I started messing around with it, and the next thing I know, it's 4 a.m. and I've been playing the game for like 12 straight hours.
Right.
Um, so I was hooked from then. Had no idea what was going on, how to do things, what a node was, what a buff, debuff, any of that stuff was.
Yep.
But I enjoyed Marvel. Everything was great. So continued my addiction of playing the game and moved up into some fairly competitive alliances with SSX, for Loki. And then at that point, I had a health scare and needed to take some time to focus on some treatment and my family. So I retired from the game, um, was getting chemo, and it was really about the time where I was finishing up chemo that I just realized, like, man, like I miss the game, yes, but I miss the community,
Yep.
the people, being able to just hop online chat or Discord and joke around with people about things or talk through the strategies of a fight or what went right, what went wrong. And I guess I overlooked how important that was in my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
So,
so
yeah.
first of all, are you doing better? As the
Yes.
prognosis good for
Everything is
cancer?
is wonderful. So couldn't ask for anything better.
When you stepped away from the game and from that community that you had built during COVID times, how did that affect you stepping away?
At first, it was a blessing
Yeah.
because I'm not gonna lie, the game is a catch 22. Like I said, you have these great friendships, these great relationships you've built with alliance members and just people you've come across with in various chats. But it's also you don't realize how much of your time is dedicated to this game when you're in
Yep.
such a high level alliance. And I think that was a big eye opener for me was wow, like I have an extra 4 hours out every day. What
Absolutely.
to focus on things, focus on my life and my family. So, at first it was great.
Yep.
But then after a while I kind of start to want to fill that void and want to do other things.
Right. Now, while you were going through treatment, did you keep in touch with people in the community, or did you do just a clean break and just
I did
separate yourself?
I did a clean break.
Okay.
I just it was easiest for me not to continue to involve myself in, whether it's watching your content creators and their videos, just because I knew that that would immediately draw me back into it.
Right.
And that's not what I needed at that time.
Right.
But after, my prognosis was good, family was good, healthy again, I slowly started to watch some more videos and I was hook, line, and sinker right
Right.
back into things.
So you mentioned that you got back onto YouTube and watched some of the content creators out there. Which content creators were you watching that brought you back in?
Sure. So some of my favorites, B McG,
Yep.
watching your stuff. Andrew the Rough, been in alliances with him for a long time.
Yep.
Karate Mike, Legacy,
Yep. All all
just
great
guys that,
Forlokians. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, DLL,
Yep.
all kinds of great guys that, I just enjoy watching the game
Yep.
and learning more from, you know, uh, um, just a different mindset of the way different people play the game and how they approach it. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so you're back to the game now. Um, you mentioned before that you started off with an SSX, then you moved to a Four Loki. So those are two pretty high tier competing alliances out there. Now that you're back to the game after your prognosis is positive, you've decided to go a different route. What route are you taking?
Yes, so about probably 10, 12 months or so ago, I started a new account, a free to play account.
Okay.
After taking so long off, I tried to get back into it and I was like, man, like 2 years, like I am either going to have to spend a whole bunch of money or grind a whole lot to be able to get back to that level again.
Yep.
With you masters level alliances, and it's just not something that I wanted to partake. So I am mostly free to play now. I've
Right.
probably spent, I don't know, 25, $50 or so on the account just for fun, but playing in a Platinum 5 Alliance and, definitely enjoying that and
Yep.
learning the troubles of not having a very deep roster of,
Right.
less than being a year old, but just really enjoying, being back with the Alliance and, speaking through war fights and the pains of not finishing AQ and all the good stuff that comes with this game.
Yep. Do you feel different being a free to play account player as opposed to that self identified mini whale that you were before? Has is the game more enjoyable for you since you're not doing that heavy chase, or what do you think? Do you think that there's a chance that you may go back up to spending the way you were when you were with SSX and For Loki?
Possibly. I don't have intentions to,
Yeah.
but I think it's just a different dynamic right now. One of my favorite parts about the game has always been war.
Right.
I love war, but with that also comes the pressure of
Right.
war.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I've been playing War since it began, and I can definitely say that
But at the same,
it does step up the pressure on you and the stress that you have when you're playing this game. So absolutely, completely understand.
oh,
Yeah,
oh God, I mean, things that, yeah, for fights that you could, handle in your sleep if they didn't mean anything, but the pressure of that war just really
yeah,
gets to you. And I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I'm ready to go back to that yet.
right. So so a lot of things have changed with the game. I would even say in the past few months and the time that you were away and came back. So Battlegrounds really has hit its strides. We've had this new event quest come out. There's been additional side quests. Story content has been released. Since you've been back, what is your most enjoyable mode in the game right now?
I don't think that there's anything just in one thing in particular. I've really enjoyed that it seems like there is a lot more frequent release of the Everest type content.
Right.
Whether it's the Wheel of Fate, the new event quest, the
Crucibles. Yeah.
Crucibles, things like that. Like it's
Yep.
just it's there's more to bring you and get you more involved, which I really enjoy.
Right. Do you think that those additional game modes and the release of all that in-game content like the Crucibles and the Wheel of Fate and so on, do you think that is moving you into a place where you're spending more and more time with the game, or are you able to maintain that steady work-life balance and the appropriate balance where you are and where you want to be, or do you feel yourself slipping in further into being more and more involved with the game?
A bit of both. I'm finally catching up to where I've pretty much beaten all of that in-game content now, but
Right.
I'd be lying if, there weren't times where I'm sitting on a conference call and I look over and I've got my iPad going or I'm auto fighting Realm of Legends for potions to try to make it through the next in-game quest.
Right. Have you noticed additional, like I've noticed, and I'm sure you've noticed, an increase to the amount of micro offers being offered by the live ops Kabam team to try to entice people to spend more money on this game?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've noticed that, probably I can notice it really ramping up when I quit the game initially, which was just over 2 years ago. And from picking it back up, even if it's just like you said, the micro offers, I can't go, 3 or 4 times a day without getting a unit deal for,
Right.
an extra couple hundred 7-star shards and things like that.
Yeah, definitely the chase is out there, especially have you been playing a lot of Battlegrounds lately?
I have
Yeah.
enough to get the rewards and move on. I'm not serious competitively in it,
Right.
once you get into the gladiator circuit, but um, yeah, enough to make it through.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more rank fours in the accounts that you see out there. So yeah, there's it's definitely getting more competitive. It makes it harder to maintain a free to play account. Or you tell me, is it hard as a free to play person now to compete in those more competitive roles like Alliance War and Battlegrounds? And is that a good thing or is that a bad thing in your opinion?
I think it's cyclical. So, and I know that I followed you. I know that you've been there. Like right now, it's not very difficult for me. Like I said, I have an account that's less than a year old.
Yep.
That's basically free to play, and I have 8, maybe 9 rank fours,
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
and and that is great,
Yeah.
but I feel like the release of what's next
Yeah.
is always concerning to me. So
Right.
I know you're ready for rank fives. I know I may not be ready for rank fives to come out yet, because I'm still building my roster. But I think it's Kabam is in a little bit of a stale time now, where everyone is building up their rosters, and there's we haven't seen, at least to my understanding, anything for the next rank.
Right.
And my hope is that we can slowly start to see those things, and it doesn't just bum rush us. And hey,
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic point. And that was going to be one of my upcoming questions to you. Now that seven stars have been out in the ecosystem for a while now, and we are up to seven-star rank fours right now. Eventually, we all know what's going to happen is that there's going to be an 8 stars being released, which will require people to build their own roster. What is your feeling with regards to the pace where the seven stars were introduced to now where we are currently, and how much longer do you think that you would like to see 8 stars in the future? Would you like to see them this next year, or do you think that the pace is going a little bit too fast?
um, I would be okay with them coming out, next year.
Yep.
It's one of those. I think that they did a great job in releasing the 7 stars. At the time, everybody was kind of bummed out. It seemed like there weren't maybe the best champions
Yep.
that were released, but we saw what a difference in whether it was the combat rate or the stat focus and just the attack levels and things that made those characters that maybe weren't looked upon greatly as 6 stars,
Right.
were pretty solid as 7 stars, and made you play some characters you wouldn't normally play and think about the game a little differently.
Yep. Now I've got some hard questions here. Are you ready for them?
Okay,
I was giving you
sure.
softballs until until now.
Okay.
All right. So as a person who's played on both sides, the spending side and the free to play side, um, uh, how do you feel that Kabam treats whales and free to play players fairly? Do you think that, first of all, do you think they are treated fairly? And if not, do you have any examples of why you don't think they are?
No, I don't think they're treated fairly, but I don't think they should be treated fairly.
Okay.
So, spending money is what keeps this game going.
Yep.
We have to be, we have to realize that. And you should reward those players that are ensuring that you're keeping the game moving forward. I think there was a point in time a couple of years ago where the focus was shifted a lot more towards the spenders and there wasn't the reward base in the content.
Right.
We spoke a little bit earlier about some of this Everest based content that's been more frequently released lately. And I think that they're doing a pretty good job of balancing the rewards for a free to play or low spender versus, somebody that spends quite a bit more.
Right. Now, you've been with the game recently. You've heard and you've experienced Prestige 30. How we've moved from a top five champion Prestige to now top 30 champion Prestige. What are your
It's
what are your feelings on that?
It mixed. So it definitely hurt me. Like I said, having such a small roster, I did have a decent prestige. I think I was like at 33,000 or something like that when there was just five, and I dropped down to like 21.5 when it went to all 30.
Right.
So that was a pretty large decrease, but I understand people's perception as, hey, that's just a money grab. But at the end of the day, we want to have deep rosters. We want to
Right.
be able to rank multiple champions up, especially if you're involved in battlegrounds. You can't just have a top five, six, seven characters you play. You need to have that well-rounded roster. So
Right.
it's definitely made me look at taking some of those champs that maybe were sitting as a 7-star rank one and moving them up to rank two, rank three, and looking at that.
Why do you think that Kabam made that change?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, I know that I'm assuming it got to a point with you top level alliances that most of the alliances prestige were pretty much all maxed out and the same. So what do you do to differentiate
Yep.
AQ and the rewards that are going to that? Because it seems like since I came back, the rewards for the high level AQ have gotten quite a bit better. I mean,
Yep.
it used to be worthless. So I can see doing that to have some differentiation. Also, I can see it being maybe not a money grab, but it is going to be a little influential in funds coming into the game as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know that there is something more to come that has not been released to the community yet. But I think from my own standpoint, and I know at the beginning of this interview, I was trying not to insert my own opinion, but I hope that people are patient with Kabam with regards to this Prestige 30, and announcements will be made. So I'll just say that for the community that is watching this interview on playback. All right. So next question for you is, how do you feel about Kabam's communication with the community? Do they listen? Or only react when things boil over? Especially since we've had a lot of turmoil over the past couple weeks with regards to energy, top Prestige 30, game crashes, lag. Of course, there's always the AI stuff. Do you think the Kabam does a good job of communicating with us, or do you think they're more of in a react mode?
A bit of both. I probably have a little bit of a controversial opinion on this,
Good. Good.
but I I have no problem with what they are doing now as far as communicating with us. Listen, the game's always had issues. It's always going to have issues. There's not going to be anything perfect. There's going to be things that the devs think are great ideas. Once they get rolled out to the community members, they realize, hey, maybe it wasn't the best idea. They get tweaked. Where my issue is, I think that they've gotten a little too soft on some things. It seems like every time the community has an issue and, you know, blows up the forums on something, it immediately gets nerfed or changed or something like that. I take it back to the 6.2 champion boss.
Right.
That was probably the most difficult fight of the time. It was literally a roadblock for a lot of people
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
they could not get through that when that came through. If that was released now, something similar, I think the community would have an absolute fit and they would just nerf that fight immediately.
So you obviously think that the community does have a voice and they are able to inflict and request change, and that the Kabam does listen to community input for that.
I think they absolutely do. I just
Yeah.
think that it's like you said with the prestige thing. It needs to be a patience thing and realize that not everything's going to be perfect. That hey, let's see how the things play out for a little bit before we bitch too much or make too many drastic changes from Kabam's point.
Right, right. Do you think the Prestige 30 was the main driver of that? I mean, you've already mentioned it, but has it was Prestige 30 the main driver for competition between players, or do you think it's they're manipulating Prestige to drive revenue? What do you think is their primary goal there?
I think it's both. I mean, it's definitely revenue. You know, I would say first and foremost, it's a revenue driver, but
Yeah,
it also does, you know, promote competition among people. I know that you want to compete and you want to have as high a prestige as possible, and me with limited spending to no spending, I'm going to do the same thing.
yeah.
So it does provide that competition as well.
Yeah, I've mentioned this to Kabam before with just the top five when they released a new champion. If that champion was number six in prestige in the game prestige, there was a perceived fewer people were going to buy that crystal if it was champion number six, as opposed to if they put it in the top five. And then people would obviously want to get acquire that champion because the prestige was so good. So I do think that there was a revenue play there. So now they can release a champion that's number 15 and people will still want them because it'll still be influential to their prestige. So yeah, I think that was a huge factor. Um, what now, you don't have to answer this, but
Okay,
please,
no problem.
if you want, no big deal. But what's your most unpopular opinion about Kabam or the game that you think needs to be said?
Most unpopular opinion about Kabam or the game. It's a great question. Honestly, I think it's what I just said. I mean, it's that they're catering too much to the players bitching right now,
Okay,
and immediately changing things as opposed to letting things play out a little bit longer
okay,
to maybe explain why things are a certain way or to realize that yes, hey, maybe this is a mistake. We should scale this back or change this.
yeah. Are you a member of the MCOC Discord server? Have you been watching that, or have you not?
I am not. I
Okay,
try not to get too much involved in that. I like watching content creators, but that's some of the Twitch streams and everything. But that's about as you know. I'll check out the forums every now and then if I
yeah.
see a bug or an issue, but that's about as much as I dive into it.
Of those content creators that are currently out there, and I did a video, last week about the content creators that are currently in this community. There are some content creators that are optimistic, or provide instructional value, or provide artistic artwork, and there are some content creators that are more negative with regards to the state of the game. Do you tend to focus on just the wide swath of content creators? Do you watch videos regardless of whether or not they're optimistic or pessimistic or what have you, or do you go more towards one side or the other?
No, I like to watch both sides of it
Okay,
because I mean I think you need both sides of the argument to figure out what the closest thing to the truth is.
right.
I mean, we all have different opinions on things, and if I'm listening to one creator talk about, oh, this is the greatest piece of content ever released, and then 30 seconds later, I'm listening to a different content creator talk about, hey, this is the worst piece of content they've ever released. And, it's everybody's got their own opinion. And I like to be able to listen to both sides of it before I can really justify my opinion too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Wrapping up, I just got a couple more questions for you, Cam, and I do appreciate you
Sure.
spending your day with me. What message would you share with the other players who might be struggling, whether with the game or as you had with real life challenges? What message would you have for those people?
Sure. Well, one, at the end of the day, like this is a game.
Yep,
Real life always should come first. This is a game, but at the same time, you know, if you're struggling with something in real life, the friendships and bonds that you've made in this game are incredible. I mean, hell, I've met some of my, best friends I've never even met in person that I've spoken with probably just as much as I have a lot of my family members in the last 5 years.
absolutely.
Um, it's really amazing to me the bonds that you have there.
Yep,
If you're struggling in the game, there are so many resources out there. Like you said,
yep,
so many content creators that have guides on things that, you know, videos on how to do certain fights. And if you take your time and research and follow these people, they're fantastic. They can help you through anything.
yep. Yeah, I've had the same experience, man. I've made some true lifelong friendships from this game, and that I will always treasure even after this game no longer is a part of my life. So I love that about MCOC, the friends that I've made, contacts that I've made, and yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Um, if you could sit down with Kabam leadership tomorrow and give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would have to say, and I know that they're doing this already, and it's what does the future, I would like to know what the future holds, and just ensuring that, whether it's a crash grab for this prestige, like we just spoke about, that they are doing everything that they can to prolong this game as long as possible. Because we all know, I mean, there's a shelf life on the game. This is not something that's going to last infinitely.
Yep.
So whether it's the release of 8 stars, the release of a new battlegrounds esque type of content, I would just say that, make sure that there is a focus to prolong people's enjoyment of this game as long as possible. Mainly to be able to continue to build all these friendships that we just talked about.
Yep.
It's amazing to me. I again, 5 years ago when I picked up an iPad that never heard of the game, never did I think 5 years from now I would still be talking to people that I've met over the internet.
Absolutely. Finally, last question.
Okay.
Um, so this is going to be an ongoing series, and it's I'm excited too because a lot of people have reached out wanting to do what you just did. As a viewer of the channel, who would you enjoy listening to hear their stories in future episodes?
To me, like when I watched the video of you introducing this series, it was just the community. Like we hear content creators and their opinions on things all the time. And yes, I think it would be great if you had a content creator on and could speak through that. But just having people at differing levels of the game who have different experiences of the game,
Yep.
different opinions, I think that's the biggest thing to me. That's what would keep me going, just
Yep.
to continue to hear different people's experiences.
Yeah, great. Because the people that have volunteered and have signed up already, They are from the wide swath of community. We've got casual spenders, we've got free to play players, we've got whales. Walt reached out to me, so he'll be in an episode coming up pretty soon. He's the #1 account in the game. Excited to have him. And then some content creators have reached out to me. But you're right. I want this series to be focused on players in the community that nobody has heard about, that have their own opinions, have their own stories, just like you, showing your resilience of picking up the game, taking some time off to take care of your health stuff, and then coming back to the game even stronger. So I think that's what's going to be so great about this series. But Cam, that is it, man. It wasn't too painful, was it?
No, not at all. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
Yeah,
Wish you nothing but the best
yeah. And
in all your endeavors.
and it's my pleasure to talk to you too, Cam. I you stepped away from the game. Nobody knew where you went. Then you're finally back. Thank you so much for reaching back up to me, man. And hopefully, uh, a lot of the other people in this community will get to hear your story and hopefully gain some hope, some optimism for the future of Marvel Contest of Champions. And yeah, that's the whole purpose of this series. So thank you again.
Awesome, man. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.